Well, hello and welcome to our program tonight. Glad to have you with us. Tonight we're going to feature my last album, album number 6. I've got some big shoes to fill, and most of the songs will come from that album. There'll be one or two that will be from other albums, but most of them will be from the Big Shoes album. That album title came from a song that I wrote for my dad, and unfortunately I have not been able to record. I wrote a song for Mom and Dad and put them on that album. I haven't been able to get both of my brothers up to record their parts for these two songs because they help me do the background vocals, but as soon as I get them videoed, I'll put those together and I'll play those for you. I wish I could do it tonight, but unfortunately I can't. But last week we had a good crowd. It wasn't a record, but it was a good crowd. It was getting close. And by the way, if you have any friends that like this kind of music, tell them about it and invite them to join us on Friday night. I'll make it as easy as possible. We have a Facebook page, a Bird Friday Night Show Facebook page, and there's a link right down below the screen here in the where it says Show More or tells you about the video. Anyway, there's a link there, and if you join the Facebook page and then share that with your friends, they can easily then just click the link and go and sign up with us. But anyway, it's been a real good week, and I hope you all have had a good week, and I hope everybody's well and safe. But I know you came to hear some music, so let's just get on with the program. I'm going to start tonight's program off with a song by one of my favorite gospel writers. His name was Albert Brumley. He wrote I'll Fly Away. He wrote Turn Your Radio On. And I had gotten to my 6th album and was still looking for material to do. And my wife and I were riding around one night, and all of a sudden we're hearing George Jones singing Precious Jesus, Hold My Hand. And I later did a little research, and George had gone through a conversion of a sort. You know, we all know what a storied life he lived. I mean, everything from drug problems to alcohol problems to one problem after another. And he had finally, he and Tammy were divorced, and he was just troubled, you know, and he married a lady, and she just took him under her wing and began to care for him. She just loved him for the good part of what he was. And they had some kind of squabble or something, and I think he got a little rough with her, and he said he walked out on the back of his property, and he said, Lord, if you have to hit me with a sledgehammer, please deliver me from these problems that I have. Well, he was in a recording session not long. You have to be careful what you pray for. He was in a recording session not long after this, and said on his way home he stopped by the package store. And he wound up having a wreck, and it almost killed him. They had to flight him to a hospital. And he said during his recovery, he asked Vestal Goodman to come see him, have a meeting with him. And basically she became his spiritual mentor, and that was when he wound up getting saved. And when I saw him telling this story, I saw a man had such peace on his face. You could tell the experience had been real, and you never saw him in the news after this, you know. But anyway, he goes on to record this gospel album, and Lynn and I were just looking at each other going, I can't believe we're listening to George Jones sing gospel music. And we were loving it. I mean, I loved the album. But anyway, it inspired me to do my version of this song, that great Albert Brumley song, Precious Jesus, Hold My Hand.
As I travel through this pilgrim land, there is a friend who walks with me. Please leads me safely through the sinking sand. It is the Christ of Calvary. This would be my prayer, dear Lord, each day to help me do the best I can. For I need thy light to guide me day and night. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Jesus, hold my hand. I need thee every hour. Through this pilgrim land, protect me by thy power. Hear my feeble plea. Oh Lord, look down on me. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Let me travel in the light divine, that I may see the blessed way. Keep me that I may be wholly thine, and sing redemption song someday. I will be a soldier brave and true, and ever firmly take a stand. As I onward go and daily meet the foe, blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Jesus, hold my hand. I need thee every hour. Through this pilgrim land, protect me by thy power. Hear my feeble plea. Oh Lord, look down on me. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Toward the setting of the sun, lead me safely to a land of rest, if I a crown of life have won. I have put my faith in thee, dear Lord, that I may reach the golden strand. There's no other friend on whom I can depend. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. Jesus, hold my hand. I need thee every hour. Through this pilgrim land, protect me by thy power. Hear my feeble plea. Oh Lord, look down on me. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Jesus, hold my hand. When I kneel in prayer, I hope to meet you there. Blessed Savior, hold my hand.
This next song that we're going to do for you tonight was written by George Bernard. He wrote it between 1912 and 1913, and it was published in 1915. And this just went on to be, I don't even know how many people have recorded this song, and it's been in hundreds of hymnals. Brad Paisley did a version of the song. Andy Griffith did a version of the song. Chet Atkins did a version of the song. Anne Murray did a version of the song. It's been done by so many people. It's just one of the staples of the gospel music world. And we're going to do our version of it tonight for you. It's called The Old Rugged Cross.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross, where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. Oh, that old rugged cross, so despised by the world, has a wondrous attraction for me. For the dear Lamb of God left His glory above to bear it to dark Calvary. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. In that old rugged cross, stained with blood so divine, a wondrous beauty I see. For 'twas on that old cross Jesus suffered and died to pardon and sanctify me. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true, its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then He'll call me someday to my home far away, where His glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. I'll exchange it someday for a crown.
In 2000, Josh Turner had moved to Nashville to study music. And he said he was in the library one night, and the library had just obtained a box set of all of Hank Williams' songs. And he said as he listened, he listened through all the metaphors and the train metaphors and this and that and the other, that he just sort of got in that mode of Hank Williams, and said he was walking home and said all of a sudden he started having this vision. This is late at night. Said he started having this vision of a long train with just people waiting and deciding whether to ride that train or not. And he then realized the train was a metaphor basically for sin, wayward way of life and everything. And so he said by the time he got home, he sat down, he was so intrigued by all this, he started writing. Said he wrote 3 verses. But he woke up the next day and he said he just wasn't quite, first of all, he just didn't think people would want to hear such an old-fashioned song. Trains were out of vogue by then. Everybody's flying these days and got their own car and what have you. So he just doubted whether it would amount to much, but he said he did get the 4th verse, and he played it for one of his friends there, and they said, whoa, you need to play this at an assembly. So he wound up playing at an assembly, and then he started playing it here and there. And so one of his friends worked with a publishing company. I believe the publishing company was Jody Williams or something like that. But anyway, they carried it to her, and she listened to it, and she says, get him in here. So they sat down and wound up inking a publishing contract, and she carried it to a record company. I believe it was MCA, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, they wound up signing him. But before anybody ever knew who, and this is the hard part. As a performer, I understand this part. By the time he came along, the Grand Ole Opry had moved to Opryland. But in the wintertime, they still would go back to the Ryman Auditorium, which is where it all originated. So in 2001, somebody got him a shot to go on the Opry, and nobody knew who he was. I mean, the song was not released yet. Nobody had even heard this song. And they said he got up and he started singing. And before he got through to the end of the song, now this is a song nobody's heard yet. It's hard enough to get people to respond to songs they know, But when you're playing stuff that people don't know, you're taking your chances, because most people want to hear something familiar. That's why we have a chorus in a song. We get through the meat and potatoes, and then we get to that part that everybody can sing along, But at any rate, he sang the song, and people just started reacting. I mean, they were standing up before he got to the end of the song. And the MC of the program, when it was done, he realized what a response this was. He says, y'all want to hear some more? Well, he knew the one song, so he came back out and he did it again and said they just went nuts again, But anyway, for whatever reason, MCA, I think it was MCA, in their wisdom, did not release the song right then. They should have. It may have gone higher than number 13. But nonetheless, in 2003, the rest is history. It just became one of those great beloved songs that I know I love to sing it, and people apparently love to hear it, because back when I was playing, I got requests for it all the time. But we're going to do our version of it for you tonight. It's Josh Turner's The Long Black Train.
There's a long black train coming down the line, feeding off the souls that are lost and crying. Rails of sin, only evil remains. Watch out, brother, for that long black train. Look to the heavens, you can look to the sky. You can find redemption staring back into your eyes. There is protection and there's peace the same. Burn in your ticket for that long black train. 'Cause there's victory in the Lord, I say. Victory in the Lord. Cling to the Father and His holy name, and don't go riding on that long black train. There's an engineer on that long black train, making you wonder if the ride is worth the pain. He's just waiting on your heart to say, let me ride on that long black train. 'Cause there's victory in the Lord, I say. Victory in the Lord. Cling to the Father and His holy name, and don't go riding on that long black train. Well, I can hear the whistle from a mile away. It sounds so good, but I must stay away. That train is a beauty, making everybody stare. Its only destination is the middle of nowhere. 'Cause there's victory in the Lord, I say. Victory in the Lord. Cling to the Father and His holy name, and don't go riding on that long black train. I said cling to the Father and His holy name, and don't go riding on that long black train. Yeah, watch out, brother, for that long black train. That devil's a driving that long black train. Yes, there's victory in the Lord, I say. Victory in the Lord. Cling to the Father and His holy name, and don't go riding on that long black train. Yeah, watch out, brother, for that long black train. That devil's a driving that long black train.
For our next song tonight, I'm going to do a song from my I've Got Some Big Shoes to Fill album. It was written by Joseph Scriven and Charles Converse. Joseph Scriven was born in 1819 in Ireland, and he went to Trinity College in Dublin, and he was preparing for a military career, but due to some illness, his first setback in life was that he was not going to be able to do the military thing. And he just sort of lived a tragic life, to be honest. He, in 1844, he was planning to be married, and the night before he was to be married, his fiancée drowned. Well, he's a little bit despondent, or a lot despondent, and he moved to Canada, moved to a place called Rice Lake. And there he met a young lady, and some accounts say her name was Eliza Rice, and some say it was Eliza Roach, but whichever one you want to choose, it was one of those two. And just a few days before he was to marry her, she took pneumonia and died. Well, throughout all of these setbacks, he finally sort of settled on a life of trying to help others, and in doing that, he just became destitute. He didn't hold a steady job, and he lived with friends, and they got to where they were put out with him because he was always trying to help the needy instead of helping himself, and finally wound up needing a place to live, needing money, what have you, but he was still trying to help people, you know. But in 1855, something happened with his mother, and he was not able to get home, and so he wrote her a poem, never really meaning for anybody to see it, but her and him. Well, he became ill at some point, and whoever was sort of taking care of him, they were going through some stuff one night, and they came upon this poem. And they read it, and they said, did you write this? And he said, well, God and I wrote it. And, you know, he just never took care of that kind of business, never meant for the poem to be seen, really. But this person somehow, being aware of what a great poem it was, I don't know if they got it to Charles Converse or exactly how it wound up in Charles Converse's hands, but he wrote the music that we know now to it. And the sad thing out of all of this is the last tragic event in 1886, Scriven drowned. And we don't really know if it was suicide or whether he just some accident. Anyway, they found him in a lake there in Canada. But he never got to really know the song that he wrote was going to give so many people comfort in their lives. And it's a song called What a Friend We Have in Jesus. So I'm going to do my version of it for you tonight. What a friend we have in Jesus.
Our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. What needless pain we bear, all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Have we trials and temptations? Their trouble anywhere. We should never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so sorrow share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. the soulless pair. So take it to the Lord in prayer.
This next song I'm going to do for you tonight comes from my 6th CD. I've got some big shoes to fill. And I came across this song. By the time I got to album 6, I was doing a lot of bluegrassy influenced stuff because I had started playing banjo and mandolin and adding that to the mix. But in order to study that style, I had purchased several bluegrass albums. And I got this collection of 20 different hits. It was just by different artists and everything. But this particular song was on it, and I had not heard it before up to that point. But when I heard it, I just fell in love with the song and wanted to do it. So that's how it made it on to album 6, Big Shoes. But I'm going to do it for you tonight. The Little Mountain Church.
My thoughts of yesterday, where friends and family gathered for the Lord. There an old-fashioned preacher talked the straight and narrow way for what few coins the congregation could afford. Dressed in all our Sunday best, we sat on pews of solid oak, and I remember how our voices filled the air. Mama sounded like an angel on those high soprano notes. When the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. Looking back now, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone. It was there in that little mountain church house I first heard the word to base my life upon. At the all-day Sunday singing, dinner on the ground, many were the souls that were revived. While the brothers and the sisters who'd gone on to Glory Land slept in peace in the maple grove nearby. Looking back now, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone. It was there in that little mountain church house I first heard the word to base my life upon. Looking back now, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone. It was there in that little mountain church house I first heard the word to base my life upon. I first heard the word to base my life upon.
Charlie and Ira Louvin, who were actually, instead of Louvin, it was actually, their actual name was Loudermilk, and they were kin to John D. Loudermilk, Hall of Fame songwriter in the 50s and 60s. But anyway, they changed their name from Loudermilk to Louvin when they went into show business. And I was playing at a place called Uncle Bill's back in, must have been about, it was early 2000. This album didn't come out till 2003 that I'm fixing to tell you about, so it had to be after that. But long about that time, somebody came up to me and they said, you ever heard of the Louvin Brothers? I said, yeah, I've heard of them. Said, do you know a song called Keep Your Eyes on Jesus? I'm going, no, I don't believe I've heard that one. And they had the Livin' Lovin' Losing CD that Carl Jackson had produced after Ira had passed away, actually. It was done in the early 2000s, and they kept it a secret from Charlie for a while. Charlie was still alive until 2011, but they kept it a secret from him for a while, but he finally found out by accident, so he was a part of the process after that. But what they did is they took all the Louvin Brothers songs, well, not all of them, but the biggest ones, and a who's who came out of the country market to record this album, do different versions of it. Glenn Campbell worked on the album. Johnny Cash worked on the album. Linda Ronstadt, Dolly Parton, Alison Krauss, James Taylor. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, there were, not only were the singers that you know the top of the list, but the players. Most of you wouldn't know the players because they're session people and you don't ever see their name on things. I knew a lot of them because being a player, you sort of know who other players are, you know. But nonetheless, it was a who's who of people that helped them do this album. And it went on to win the country music, the country music album of the year in 2004. It was released in 2003. It won the Bluegrass Music Association Award for the event of the year. Alison Krauss and James Taylor won a duet of the year for their song that they did on there, which escapes me at the moment. I'm sorry about that, but I'll put it on the screen. But I think it was How's the World Treating You, but I'll be sure and put it on the screen if that's not correct. But anyway, what a wonderful song. And I was so glad whoever it was asked me about this. I went home and listened to it, and I'm going, I got to learn that. So at that point, I was working on my sixth album, and it wound up making it onto the sixth album. But I'm going to do it for you tonight. The Louvin Brothers song, Keep Your Eyes on Jesus.
Keep your eyes on Jesus when the tidal waves of trouble around you roll. Keep your eyes on Jesus. He will calm the storms of life that toss your soul. Living in a world that's full of sorrows, we are tried and tempted every day, knowing not the secrets of tomorrow. We find rescue when we watch and pray. Keep your eyes on Jesus when the tidal waves of trouble around you roll. Keep your eyes on Jesus. He will calm the storms of life that toss your soul. When Peter saw him walking on the water, he said, Savior, let me come to thee. But when he took his eyes off Jesus, then he started sinking in the sea. Keep your eyes on Jesus when the tidal waves of trouble around you roll. Keep your eyes on Jesus. He will calm the storms of life that toss your soul. Keep your eyes when the tidal waves of trouble round you roll. Keep your eyes on Jesus. He will calm the storms of life that toss your soul. Keep your eyes on Jesus when the tidal waves of trouble round you roll. Keep your eyes on Jesus. He will calm the storms of life that toss your soul. Jesus calms the storms of life that toss your soul.
Right now, I just want to remind you about our website, www.birdyeomans.com. All my CDs are there. My double CDs are there. My songbook's there. There's a couple of specials that we have there. And just want to invite you to come by and take a look at it. If you have any questions, my wife Linda will be glad to help you. Her email address is linda@birdyeomans.com. And thank you so much for being a part of our program. And now we're just going to get you back to the musical portion of the show. Well, as must happen, it's time for our last song this evening. This is a song from my Turn Your Radio On album. In looking for songs to do for different albums, I come by them in various ways, but this particular song, I really had never heard it before and did not grow up singing this song. It was written in the early 1900s. And been in several hymnals and became a very popular song, but I wasn't familiar with it until a lady came into my studio and recorded a version for her album. And I enjoyed the song so much and enjoyed working on it till I thought, well, you know, it's time for my third album. Let's put this one in the list and see what happens. And so I recorded a version of it, and it made the cut, and it's on my third album. But it's a song called I'm Getting Ready to Leave This World.
Laying up my treasures in that home above, rusting, fully trusting in the Savior's love, doing what I can for heaven's holy dove. I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm getting ready for the gates of pearl, keeping my record right, watching both day and night. I'm getting ready to leave this world, to prepare a mansion. Jesus said I'll go. If it were not true, I would have told you so. Just a little while to linger here below. I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm getting ready for the gates of pearl, keeping my record right, watching both day and night. I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm getting ready for the gates of pearl, keeping my record right, watching both day and night. I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm packing up, getting ready to go, 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 I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm getting ready for the gates of pearl, keeping my record right, watching both day and night. I'm getting ready to leave this world. I'm getting ready to leave this world.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I always enjoy these Friday nights together. Don't forget, if you have any friends that like this kind of music, invite them to join us and join our Facebook page. There's a link down below. And if you would like one of my CDs or the book, or if you'd like to know more about us, some history or some links to more videos, check out our webpage, www.birdyeomans.com. And if you have any questions, my wife Linda is always glad to help you. Her email address is linda@birdyeomans.com. Be kind to each other this week. I love you. I will see you next Friday night.